Sean Bentley.
What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy J Tuck back with another Cowboys fans only episode. So you guys know the drill. Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe, somewhere down there, somewhere down there, somewhere down there. Also, guys, make sure you go out and check out the website. Yes, the official website of the CFO gang. That's cowboysfansonly.com. Once again, that's cowboysfansonly.com. Get all your CFO merch. Shouts out to my hard hitters. But go ahead, get your gear, man. Shouts out to everyone who's been supporting. And also make sure you follow me on Twitter at jtuck151. But once again, I have another special guest, man. One of my guys from the FTFN.com. He is one of the Dallas Cowboys ambassadors and writers for the website. So I have my guy Ryan in the house. Ryan, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Jordan? How are you doing?
Good man, good man. Glad to have you back. So I know we spoke on for the post game on Sunday. Have you cooled down a little bit? Have you got your thoughts together now? You're feeling a little bit better about what you saw Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some ups and downs since, but I'm fairly, I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic moving forward.
Gotcha, gotcha. But before we dive into all that, Ryan, go ahead and tell everyone in the chat where they can find you, subscribe to your channels, and follow you on all of your social media.
Sure. So it's Fratagonia on YouTube, it's Fratagonia on Instagram, and it's Real Fratagonia on Twitter.
Real Fratagonia. Guys, go ahead and follow this guy. Like I said, he's Cowboys family. He's one of the writers that I partner with on the network. So very insightful, great guy. But we're going to have some fun today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So as I mentioned, follow me on Twitter. And if you're part of the Dallas Cowboys Twitter family community, I don't even know what we call it, Cowboys Twitter, there's always something going on. There's always something. There's never a dry day. Would you agree, Ryan? There's never a dry day when it comes to Cowboys Twitter. I mean, I don't know if it's like this with other teams, but I know with Cowboys Nation, every day there is something to talk about. And today we have to talk about a few things. I'm going to pinpoint. We're going to go into what's popping on the Cowboys Twitter. So Clarence Hill, man, Clarence Hill, one of the Cowboys media insiders. He came out this morning and he had a tweet. I have it pulled up here on my phone. Let us see exactly what, because I don't want to misquote. You know, that's that. You know, I don't want to make the same mistake that Clarence made. I don't want to misquote. So he said, Jerry Jones said Dak Prescott not being able to pull off the last play of the game against the Seahawks. It's a difference between he and Patrick Mahomes or even Tony Romo. They could have pulled it off. Wow, did I hear that correctly? 105.3 The Fan. Nope. Clarence, you didn't. And so you absolutely didn't. So the Cowboys Nation was in hysteria. And I panicked when I saw that, because normally, even though Clarence is a clickbaiter, I was like, he wouldn't just say that. Because, I mean, of course, right. I don't listen to 105.3 The Fan, you know, here in Kansas City. And so I was thinking, like, damn, let me double check. And so I started doing my research. I'm like, this cannot be true. And I hope it's not true, especially after the way Dak Prescott has been playing for the past 2 weeks. And so as I started doing the research, and I saw Jeff Kavanaugh actually post something about the actual clip, and Jerry Jones said nothing remotely close to that. What he was saying is that very last play against Seattle, that quarterbacks like Dak Prescott, Pat Mahomes, and also Tony Romo and Russell Wilson, they're able to use their feet and get out of situations and continue to extend the play. And that's what makes those type of quarterbacks great. Clarence took that, ran with it, and threw a firebomb in the middle of Cowboys Nation. We exploded. I personally unfollowed the guy. I know a lot of people unblocked him today, because here's the thing. When you are Cowboys media, and granted, I'm new to this, and Ryan's been in a little bit longer than me, but we're all new to this, you have to have some credentials and credibility behind your name. You can't just shoot things out your rear. You know, you really have to have some type of qualification or some sense. We could have said, you know, let me actually see what Jerry said. And I had people on Facebook, they were tagging me. Oh my God, I told you what you hear what Jerry Jones said about Dak Prescott? No. But if one person who has the media credentials jumps off that hill, jumps out the building, people tend to jump as well. And of course, all the Dak haters, they just rode along with the whole thing. So what is your thoughts on that, Ryan? Being a guy in the media, about having your credentials, being qualified, making sure that you're not being a clickbaiter. What's your thoughts, you know, on Clarence Hill today as well for Cowboys Nation?
Sure. So, first of all, Jerry Jones, he likes to kind of be vague when he's talking sometimes. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Clarence Hill, I think he knows better. He's got a million guys on speed dial. So if he thought if that's how he interpreted Jerry Jones, he could have asked somebody.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was definitely a no-no. It was definitely a clickbaity thing. And it's definitely not what Jerry Jones intended to say.
Right. Because with Clarence Hill and others, you know, you're an insider. You're inside that locker room. So if you're starting to be a clickbaiter, kind of a TMZ type of troll, the player's not going to want you around and the organization's not going to run you around. So tread lightly when it comes to that. Next story of the day, La'el Collins' injury is a lot serious than we expected. We expected him to be on injury reserve just for 3 weeks. A lot of the talk was him about getting back in the shape. Now it seems to be like a hip injury, possible hip surgery that's going to be needed for La'el Collins. What actually happened? Now, we do know he was in a car wreck in the offseason, so maybe that had some type of impact. But hearing from what I'm seeing on Twitter and different things like that, we might not have Lyle Collins this season. So what's your thoughts on that, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the hip surgeries, how long he would be out for, but if he does miss the season, it's a big deal, and it really makes it even more important that Tyron Smith comes back and is healthy, which we,
Right.
we also don't know what to expect with him. I've got some chronic lower back pain, so I know it can be a day to day, week to week thing, and that's kind of scary for the team because you never really know what to expect with those chronic injuries like Tyron Smith has. With Collins, yeah, I think the car wreck definitely aggravated it. And if he's got to have the surgery, I think we need to make a decision on it sooner than later and get it over with.
Exactly. I think we did bring in a tackle today. I forgot his name, but added a tackle to the practice squad. But, we did see that rotation. We'll talk about this here in a little bit, the rotation of the offensive line. So maybe that's just going to be the future of Dallas for the rest of the season. I'm hoping that Lyle Collins comes back in a speedy recovery because him and Tyron Smith are key anchors for this whole thing working and coming in together finally. Other news. So yesterday I made a video about Earl Thomas. He was a goner. He was going to Houston. Well, it sounds like the hope is still alive. The hope for Earl is still remaining as far as Dallas Cowboys fans are concerned. So I guess Houston, now I'm hearing two different stories. They're saying that Houston just declined the workout with Earl Thomas and that they ended up sending him home. Then there's actually conversation about the whole COVID situation that happened with the Titans. That was the reason for them sending Earl Thomas home. I don't know. But this whole Earl Thomas thing, it's a story. It's fun. It keeps Cowboys Nation excited and hopeful. I'm personally ready to give up, but every time I'm willing to give up, there's some little flash of light, a flash of hope that reels me back in. And today was that real? I'm like, well, something has to happen between yesterday of him getting to Houston for that workout. A lot of Cowboys fans, shouts out to my guy Jonathan Asoflo, thinks Jerry Jones may have picked up the phone and stopped that that car ride to Houston. I don't believe that was actually the case. There's something going on with Earl Thomas. But let me ask you this, Ryan. What do you think the reason is Earl Thomas is still unemployed in week 3?
Well, it's really tough to say, but I think it's multiple factors. One is he's definitely lost a step over the past 3-4 years. I think that's pretty evident in his play last year. And as he ages, that's kind of going to be an issue. He may only get one or two more chances in the NFL. And I do think at some point he may be picked up by an NFL team, but there's definitely no guarantee. And I don't think it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys at this point. But it was enjoyable today to wake up and see that there is still a little thread of a chance.
Little glimpse of hope. Shout out to my guy Lamont. He says, I'm not giving up. And here's what I'll tell you, Lamont. Here is your last Cowboys Nation. Here is our last chance of the Earl Thomas dream. If we get embarrassed at home to the Browns, then that might be enough pressure to apply on Jerry Jones to make the call. So this week, this Sunday is our only hope, but I just don't see it happening. Why wait this long? We know what we can get for the discounted price. Everything is set in stone. There's somebody in the organization that does not want him, but Cowboys fans, we desperately do, especially seeing that after what we've seen for the last 3 weeks. Also, Everson Griffin was ranked last in the NFL in rush defense. So I know there was the whole thing that happened on Twitter last week about Everson Griffin not being effective in run defense. Looks like statistically it's starting to show that. Are you concerned about Everson Griffin's play right now, or do you still want to give him time to kind of get acclimated to life in Dallas?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to hope that we'll get better, but he is 32 years old as well, so
Right.
it's not a promising sign. But it's not something I think we should panic over just yet either, because we also have a lot of depth at that position, and we got Randy Gregory coming back in a few weeks as well.
Right, exactly. And I think Randy Gregory coming back will be key. And something I just tweeted about earlier before we came on the show, another guy who's supposed to come off of injury reserve who we haven't heard about is Sean Lee. And, we've seen the footage of Jalen Smith just being all over the place, trying to play middle linebacker. I think Sean Lee, if he's able to come back healthy and really solidify that middle linebacker position, will be a lot, because that's the quarterback. That's another head coach out there on the field. So that would mean a lot if we're able to get Sean Lee back. I haven't seen any reports. Have you seen anything about Sean Lee's return this this week,
No,
possibly?
no, I haven't, but I mean, he is on that 3 week IR, I believe. So unless he got put on it after the first week, then maybe it would be a week 4,
Another
week 5 thing.
additional week.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
hopefully we're getting Sean Lee back because I think that will be critical to anchor our defense. And then last but not
sure.
least, the conversation just kind of spiked a few hours ago, but run versus pass to help the defense. And what they're trying to say is that we should run the ball more because our secondary and our defense is a liability. And so it's really going back to the old Jason Garrett idea of, just run the ball, run the clock out. Really, people have to understand we tried to run the ball against Seattle. Seattle wasn't going to let us. Like, it wasn't like we didn't try to run the ball. We didn't try to get Zeke involved. Sometimes the defense is going to take that away from you. I think that's always kind of been, the game plan versus the Dallas Cowboys, which actually is something that gives me a lot of hope for this season, is that you take away Zeke and make Dak Prescott beat you with the pass. Well, we've shown in the past 2 weeks that might be even more deadlier than getting beat by Zeke. So you might want to choose your poison carefully. But what is your thoughts on that? Going back to the old Jason Garrett mantra of just, get out with the win and run the clock out.
Yeah, well, it kind of takes me back to that Rams playoff game where we kind of just got stomped and Zeke, excuse me, couldn't get anything going. And yeah, I mean, what do you do when the teams are determined to stuff the box and stop the run? Then you're not going to be able to run the ball. And it was very evident against Seattle, who is a very good rush defense team.
Right.
Um, you got to take what the defense gives you.
Right. You have to take what the defense gives you. And like I said, and I said this in the offseason, with this offense and Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore, it was going to be picking your weapon of choice at different opportune times. And you kind of seen that with the passing game. It's not like Dak is just staring down CeeDee Lamb every play. If it's Cooper, then goes to Cooper, Gallup, Dalton Schultz, taking the right read and using these weapons at the most critical time of the game. And when the opportunity is, your name is called, that's when you take advantage of it. But as of right now, I'm not all for, going back to the old style of just pounding the ball and trying to run the clock out. I feel like this Dallas Cowboys team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, we're capable to compete with any team in the NFL. And I say that wholeheartedly, not just being a homer, not just being a fan. I feel like we're fully capable of going to a shootout mode if we have to. We've proven that the past 2 weeks, and so hopefully that trend continues. So let's see what's going on in the chat, man. Appreciate everyone joining in. So Dwayne White says, what's wrong? Let's go run the table, Dak, the rest of the season, Dallas Cowboys for life. I don't know about running the table, but we'll talk about this here in a little bit. I feel like the next few games is going to be critical for this season. And what I'm really to look forward to is to see is this the Dallas Cowboys team of old where you have those games where you should win and we kind of hang around, let teams hang around and possibly lose here and there? Or do we go out and take care of business and really just handle these teams like we're supposed to and we're fully capable of? That's the most thing I'm interested in seeing on Sunday, but we'll get into that deeper. Shouts out to my guy Sid. He said, "What's up, my man Jay Tuck? What's up to the Lunatic?" Shouts out to my guy. He said 2-2. We good it after the 4 weeks. Let's go Cowboys. I feel you on that. Let's see. Dwayne Wright also said, "I think they're holding out on Sean Lee as long as they can, and then we will have a surprise for everyone. I hope it's pretty damn soon though." Yeah, man. But honestly, I don't think how much longer can we hold out on Sean Lee. I mean, I think we need all hands on deck when it comes to our defense as of right now, man. So I am not sure how much longer can we hold out. I haven't heard much when it comes to the injury reports. I'm not, hearing how Van Der Esch is doing. Is he going to be a possible return? Like we did say, we do get Randy Gregory back here in about 3 games. Why he had another 6-game suspension, I don't know. But Randy Gregory can definitely add to the depth. So let's speak about this past Sunday. And Ryan, I know me and you, we did a post game, but like I said, since things kind of settled down, you got time to kind of soak things in. You're not as emotional as you was on Sunday. What is your thoughts about Sunday loss and how are you feeling?
Well, one thing that kind of concerns me is it comes down to the line of scrimmage. I thought we weren't really able to get consistent pressure, especially through the interior. And there were big plays where Antoine Woods had a sack and Tristan Hill was able to get through. But just consistently, there were also some plays where Russell Wilson had just all day, man, to run around and find some guys.
Right.
Moving forward, that could definitely be an issue. Even a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, if you give him some time, he's going to find guys because he's got some weapons.
Right. Yeah, and I think one of my takeaways, man, as you mentioned, Russell Wilson's a great quarterback, and we spoke about that on Sunday. But it's just minimizing the mistakes. And I feel like after 3 weeks of football, as far as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I thought personally that Mike McCarthy was going to limit that. I think the transition from Jason Garrett to Mike McCarthy was limiting the mistakes. And granted, training camp, no preseason, I get that. But the mistakes that we're making are just costly. We go back to the whole Tony Pollard situation, fumbling on the kick return, the interception at the end of the half for Dak Prescott is just very uncharacteristic of him. These things cost you ball games in the NFL, especially with great teams. Those type of things definitely cost you. And so, it's limiting these different mistakes on defense, not having the proper coverage, thinking that you're a man, we're supposed to be in cover 2 and the safeties are not getting over the top. And, Diggs is thinking he has, backside help and there's no one there. Like, these things have to stop immediately. And I'm not sure how do we go about that. But like I said, one of my takeaways this offseason, I thought we were going to get back to the fundamentals of football and limit these mistakes. But it seems like they're starting to rear up in Dallas. But luckily, we have a potent offense that's able to kind of cover a lot of that, but only for so long. As you start to progress in the season, in the dog days of the season, those different things can definitely help. And then I also go back to one of our key issues from last season that looks like it's starting to come back this year is special teams and kicking, the kicking game. Greg Zuerlein missing extra points and the block extra point, that's critical. That is mistakes we got rid of Brett Maurer for. And so you think about the transition, we went from Maurer to Kai Forbath last season, who had a great season kicking for the Dallas Cowboys. But Fossil brings in his guy, and granted, he saved us against Atlanta, but pretty much you can say that those 2 points were very costly against Seattle. So, should you be concerned? I would say yes at this point. Now, granted, I think this Dallas Cowboys team is going to be one of those teams that starts to peak mid to end of seasons, which I've always wanted. But as we all know, especially in our division, and we don't really have the gigantic lead on Philly like it feels like we do. Like, they're only really one game behind. Yeah. And so we don't want to get into a situation again where we're coming down to those final 3 to 2 weeks of the season just to win the division, try to make the playoffs, where we can just limit those mistakes and win games outright. What's your thoughts on that, Ryan?
Yeah, so I think you could definitely look at our offense and say that it's potent enough where we have the upside to where we could go on a 4 to 6 game winning streak at some point during the season. There's no doubt about that. One thing holding them back has been left tackle, right tackle being out. But it's another season where we're also saying if we can get all these guys back and get them continuity going, I'm trying to say.
Right.
Who knows if it's actually going to happen. The defense, you got a first-year new coach, you got a first-year defensive coordinator, you got guys on the secondary who are out. So I do think there is somewhat of a smart idea from Jalen Smith and other guys saying that we need to kind of make the defense a little more simple moving forward. Law Nation kind of agreed with me. I was talking to him about it the other day, or disagreed with me, I should say. He was saying that we kind of need to learn now and get that out of the way. And then that way we'll be smooth towards the end of the season. But it's going to be tough when you don't have all your personnel.
Yeah, and I agree with Law as well. I think it's kind of a growing pains. Like I said, we didn't have a preseason, but I feel like if you simplify the defense, the great quarterbacks, the Russell Wilsons, they're going to pick us apart regardless. And so we might as well use these types of games as learning experiences. But, wide open blown coverages, it just has to stop. At the end of the day, just get somebody. If you don't know who to cover, just get somebody. And if you're a safety, do not get beat deep. And I feel like, shouts out to my guy Spoonie, man. He was drilling me kind of hard on Twitter about my guy Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods didn't have a great game. He had a decent game against Atlanta. A lot of mistakes. Thompson, a lot of mistakes. So we spoke about this and, a lot on this show. I don't know what the answer is for safety play. Ryan, you brought up a good point on Sunday. Maybe it's going to have to come in a form of a trade. I think at this point of the season, that's what's going to have to happen. I don't think there's any guy you can bring in off of waivers or just sitting at, besides one, that you can just bring out there. You can have an instant impact. But like you said, Sunday, we don't need a guy who's an all-pro or, a Pro Bowl caliber player, just someone back there we can trust. And I'm sure there's some NFL guys out there as kind of just a rotational guy that we can bring in. I would say go ahead and offer the Raiders a 6th-round pick and get Jeff Heath back. Whatever. Like I was, like I said Sunday, I was perfectly fine with Jeff Heath. I know a lot of people wasn't, but I trusted Jeff Heath back there, even though he was limited athletic with his athletic ability. But I personally would take Jeff Heath back because those blown coverages, like I said, just wide open plays. It wasn't just against Seattle. It's been against that way against the Rams. It's also been against Atlanta. Just, you or myself could have caught those touchdowns easily. Shouts out to Mama Tuck. She's in the chat. So she just posed an interesting question. Trade Pollard. And here, I need to clarify this because I said this on Twitter. That I am off the Tony Pollard idea. Now, let me clarify that now since I have a microphone and sometimes you take my tweets out of context. I'm giving up on the idea of the Dallas Cowboys being able to use Tony Pollard in an efficient manner. I feel like for some reason, they just can't go to what we're about to see on Sunday. You're going to get a little bit of Kareem Hunt. You're going to get, both aspects of the running back game. Nick Chubb as well. But I feel like when it comes to the Cowboys, they just can't find out how to use Tony Pollard. And we got a brief glimpse of it against Atlanta. The first 2 plays, we had Tony Pollard in the up back, and you had Zeke, back there, and they gave 2 handoffs to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had a fumble, which he did recover, and that was it. That was it. No more Tony Pollard. And so I feel like Tony Pollard is a lot more than just a kick returner. I actually personally don't like him as a kick returner. I don't. I personally would like him maybe doing punts more because I don't like CeeDee Lamb returning punts. I would take Tony Pollard returning punts more than doing kick return. But I would like to see Tony Pollard evolve a lot more in this offense. And granted, we have a lot of weapons, but he's a dynamic player. Those screen passes that we were trying to get to Zeke over and over and over again, toss a few of those to Tony Pollard because he can break a few and go the distance. We saw that last year in the game against the Rams. But for some reason, the Dallas Cowboys is just not excited about the idea of the split carries between Pollard and Zeke. So what's your thoughts on that, Ryan? I wouldn't trade him, though.
No, because we have no real depth at running back, even on the practice squad. Rico Dowdle, a couple undrafted free agents, Jed Anderson. But it comes down to just being able to establish the run. When you have Dak Prescott throwing the ball 50-something times, you're not going to get your second running back involved a lot. The Cleveland Browns are pretty much committed to running the ball. Baker's throwing right at really less than 30 passes a game.
Right.
So they're running the ball a lot, and that allows Kareem Hunt to come onto the field more often. A lot of the reason why they can do that, though, is because they're getting pushed against run defenses, and Cowboys couldn't really do that against Seattle.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, I would be no for me for trading Tony Pollard. I want to see more Tony Pollard. Not only from a fan perspective, but from a fantasy football owner. I got 1 point from Tony Pollard, and I lost by 4. And so it's like I just need to see more Tony Pollard, whether it's in the pass game. A lot of people were saying online that, well, he can't pass protect. Okay, well then put him out in the wide receivers, flex him out wide. Let him be creative. Use those jet sweeps. We're running him to CD. Give Tony Pollard an opportunity to get to the outside because we've all seen it before. If Tony Pollard can get to the outside, he can be dangerous. And I really want to go back to that thunder and lightning aspect when it comes to the running game. And I mentioned on Twitter about, how it used to be Marion Barber and kind of Felix Jones, kind of that whole ordeal, thunder and lightning, it hits you in different ways and it wears teams down when you get to the fourth quarter. But as of right now, it looks like the Cowboys aren't too interested in doing that. So we'll definitely see that. So shouts out to everyone in the chat. Let's see what's going on right now. We see trade Tony Pollard. Our next 6 games have no reason to lose. Man, we can't lose. Yeah, I feel like I said, Sid, man, I feel like these games are must-win games because I want to see a difference in the Dallas Cowboys from this year to last year. We had the loss last year to the Jets, and even though Buffalo was surging this year, they weren't what they are last year. So losing those games, I wanted to start limiting those, so preventing those games where you're sitting thinking, like, how the hell did we lose that game? And this is critical to see. I want to see us come out, handle the game, handle the Browns accordingly, move on the Giants, handle the Giants accordingly, like really handle business. Don't fumble around and come down to a field goal against the Giants and different things like that. I really want to see us take care of business, which I know we're capable of. Even though we're limited injury-wise, I feel like we're still a more talented team than the Browns and also the Giants. The Cardinals game can kind of go either way, and we'll get to that bridge once we get there. But what are you looking forward to most to seeing this Sunday, Ryan?
Well, this Sunday is going to tell us a lot because we have a Browns team that, and they definitely don't lack talent, but I do think from a talent perspective, they're a team that we should beat. Um, but to put it into perspective, we were 3-0 at this time last year, and we
Right.
thought we were Super Bowl
Top of the
bound.
hill.
And it just didn't happen. And now we're kind of starting slow, but sometimes those can be some of the best seasons. But it will tell us if we really struggle against the Browns, then I think we're going to struggle some moving forward. But like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I feel like as a Cowboys fan, I'm very optimistic with this season, and I think it's because I know how dangerous our offense is, and I've seen it. And like I said, guys, one of my biggest takeaways in my ask as a Dallas Cowboys fan is effort. That's all I want to see is effort. And I feel like this team has shown a lot of fight and effort, even though a lot of games didn't go our way. But you really think about it, if we would have took that field goal against the Rams, or they didn't call the offensive pass interference, we could be 2-1 right now. So I think people are looking at this team like, we're a failure, we're way behind the curve. Remember 2018, we started off 1-2 and made the playoffs and beat, Seahawks then. So, we want to make sure that we're not peaking too early. And granted, last year we were 3-0, but who do we play? And I wish we had last year's schedule this year with the limited training camp and preseason. It would have kind of been helpful to get our feet under us, but here we are. So let's talk about the Browns game. So when it comes to the Browns, one of my takeaways is definitely stopping the run. Now, the Dallas Cowboys defense has been solid in the run in some magnitude. I would say our biggest struggle against the run is like those opportune moments. So like the third down situations, those fourth down situations, giving up the plays on that end. But I feel like for the most part, Poe was starting to sell in a lot more. Tristan Hill, and I said this on Twitter, I know a lot of people are bashing Tristan Hill for his tackle and different things. I like the new bad mind, what I'm saying, the tough guy Tristan Hill mindset. He's really coming out there and he's fighting, he's showing flashes. And I said this on Twitter about DeMarcus Lawrence. If you sit back and you're not a Cowboys fan, you're just watching the game, Tristan Hill jumps off the screen a lot more than DeMarcus Lawrence has. And that's the thing is like when it comes to a lot of the D-Law offenders, DeMarcus Lawrence, you really have to go back and watch tape, crunch the all-22 to really see his impact. He doesn't jump off on your screen on Sundays, and that's what you get the big money for. So Tristan Hill's been playing solid thus far. So I like the Dallas Cowboys defense against this run game, but you also have to be aware of the wide receivers that the Browns have with Jarvis Landry and then also Odell Beckham Jr. Because these two guys, they're going to come ready to play in Dallas. It's going to be fans. They're going to come ready to show out. So you definitely have to be aware of them with our secondary. And then also Baker Mayfield. Even though Baker Mayfield isn't one of the greatest quarterbacks, he's a sneaky guy and he's a winner. So he can always find a way to win games. So we definitely have to keep containment on Baker Mayfield on that end. So that's from the defensive side. So from the defensive perspective, Ryan, what is your thoughts on how do we beat the Browns on Sunday?
Well, I think we do a lot of what we did against Seattle. Russell Wilson is going to beat you over the top. Baker Mayfield, I think he's decent, and you give him time in the pocket, and he can hurt you, but he's not going to beat you over the top like Russell Wilson did.
Right.
We definitely have to stop the run. And again, we got to get some kind of pressure in that defensive line. And even if it means sending more blitzes, I think we're cautious about doing that to Russell Wilson because he'll pick you apart. But I don't think it would hurt to do it a little more to Baker, kind of like Seattle did to Dak with our hurt offensive line. And because I think the Browns, their offensive line is pretty solid. They'll do a decent job at protecting Baker, and they've been able to run the ball really well.
Yeah, and I agree. We have to be able to get to Baker Mayfield. I feel like if there's going to be a D-Law game, this needs to be it. I feel like, Baker Mayfield, like you said, he's not Russell Wilson. He's not Lamar Jackson. Granted, he is mobile enough, but I feel like if we can get to Russell Wilson, to Baker Mayfield, apply pressure, get him rattled in the pocket, then he'll make mistakes for us. And I feel like our secondary, there's been a lot of opportune times to make the turnovers. I mean, Diggs almost had one, Worley almost had one as well. So we're getting our hands on the ball. We just have to seize the moment. I think Jordan Lewis played a lot better than he did week 3 than he did week 2. And so I think their secondary, they're slowly progressing. It's just limiting those mistakes, because if we're giving wide open touchdowns to Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and those guys, it's going to be a long day. But contain Baker Mayfield, get that pressure. And I feel like the talk for our secondary all offseason was we're going to play aggressive. We're going to play an aggressive man-style defense. We're going to get up and be aggressive and physical. But I think the problem with that is our safeties aren't reliable now as we thought. And so maybe that's a little bit of the reason why we're a little bit skittish when it comes to defense and playing that man press. But if you get physical with those guys and really apply pressure, I feel like, their defense can get to Baker Mayfield. Because you have to think about it. Even though our defense looks terrible, the one thing our defense does do great, for some reason, I don't know what goes on at halftime, what type of Gatorade they're drinking, but they do adjust well after halftime, and they seem to settle in a lot more after halftime. So we just need to come out and have a full game. And that's why I tell Dallas Cowboys fans why I'm still excited about this season, because we can't really sit back and say we've seen a great Dallas Cowboys team this far this season, and we just got beat. And we really can't say, we gave max effort on both ends, both sides came to play, and, this team was just a better team that day. We really can't say that. So I feel like with our offense showing up, if our defense can just meet us halfway in the middle, we can definitely start getting on the run on these next 6 to 7 games and really start leaving our imprint in the NFL. But on the offensive side of the ball, we got to be aware of that guy, Myles Garrett, who got that big load of money. And so with our tackles still being limited, what will the adjustments be on the offensive line? What are some key areas you want to focus on as far as offense, as far as our place of attack, Ryan?
Well, there's no doubt that defensive line of the Browns is their strength. They're fifth in the NFL at stopping the run, and I think a lot of that is just due to the defensive line. They got a lot of problems on the secondary as well. Connor Williams is the position where I'm looking at left guard. Instead of having Zach Martin play right tackle, I might even think about moving Joe Looney over to left guard, Biadasz at center, and going forward from there.
So where would you move Connor? Would you move Connor to right tackle?
Right tackle, yeah.
And for some reason, when we spoke about this Sunday, I don't know why the Dallas Cowboys doesn't see it by moving Connor Williams to right tackle. I mean, even though Zach Martin did do great at right tackle, and of course he's all pro, but it's like, no, let him play his natural position. Let him play right guard. And I agree. I would swing Connor Williams over to that right tackle, move Tyler Badass over into center, because he played well at center. So I don't know why he got pulled so quickly. But Tyler B is definitely a guy who needs to get his reps, because this is the guy we're going to be leaning on for the future. Why not now? I mean, I feel like why not now? I feel like, right now, Joe Looney, though he's a great backup center, he doesn't give us that much at the center position. It's not like he's giving us a huge boost. So move the rookie in there, let him get his feet wet. Like you said, move Looney over to the left guard, and then with that left tackle position, Brandon Knight did well thus far. So hopefully Tyron Smith, man, we need that Mr. Miyagi vibranium on his offensive line. But like we said earlier in the show, man, having Lyle Collins out could be detrimental to this team, especially. So shouts out to my guy Sid. Let's see what's going on in the chat, man. Sid, we just got to be able to finish and get that W. Too many errors and penalties. Penalties are killing us. Yeah, penalties at costly times of the game. And I feel like that's the thing about Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys team. Not only do we have penalties, we always have penalties at the wrong time. It's always like finally a big throw or a big run for Zeke, and there's a holding call. Like, we have to limit those big penalties at the wrong times of the game. I mean, limit them at all. I would get rid of all the penalties, but that especially, get rid of those penalties at key moments of the game, which could be costly and definitely, cost us the game. And then he also said Browns have 2 key running backs, 2 dogs. We need to stop the run. Yeah, it's going to be key to stop the run, man. But I think Dallas will do well against Cleveland stopping the run, because they're fully aware of the animals that Cleveland has in the backfield. So I think, Woods and Tristan Hill, those guys, they'll get up for Sunday. But it's really just stopping the overall offense, I believe, as well. But like you said, having those two different running backs wear you down all game, it wears you down. It wears you down. That was always our style of football. Wear you down with Zeke. Get to the fourth quarter, you're tired, continue to run, get out with the win. And so I think the rotation as far as the defensive line will be critical as well, as far as that. But what do you think is the key way that we're going to stop the two dual running backs in Cleveland?
Well, I really think we got to stuff the box. We really kind of frustrated Russell Wilson's at time last week, and I think if we can do that to Baker Mayfield, then we're going to do a good job. We'll be able to stop the run by stuffing the box, and we'll also be able to pressure Baker Mayfield and force him into making some mistakes. Whenever Dallas gets picked apart by average quarterbacks, it's always when we send four and we sit back in coverage, and the quarterback's got all day.
Right. Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
Exactly. So pressure. That is the focus. Getting pressure. We need Aldon Smith. We need Jalen Smith. They were sending Jordan Lewis a few times. He got there. Like, just get pressure from different angles and really wear Baker Mayfield down. And he'll turn the ball over. He'll give us opportunity. We just got to make sure that we seize the moment. So my guy Brandon hopped in chat and said, "What's y'all predictions for the game on Sunday?" Like I said, I'll go first, man. I expect and I hope and I wish to see the Dallas Cowboys actually handle business. Like I said, what I've been wanting to see from this Dallas Cowboys team, the transition from Jason Garrett to Mike McCarthy, is do we handle business when it's really time to handle business? And I feel like this game is one of those games. Granted, I'm not going to take much away from the Browns, not like the Dolphins or someone, but I feel like we are the better team, and I feel like we need to come out and show that on Sunday. And so I have the Cowboys winning 31-24 on Sunday. But I feel like the defense is going to play a lot better, and I expect our offense to continue to roll. But we have to protect Dak Prescott, because like you said, the strength of the Browns defense is that defensive line. And so if there's still a lot of question marks with the offensive line, Terrence Steele, they said he was out because he had food poisoning. So whoever's cooking on Saturday, just maybe slide a little extra back in there. But like I said, we really have to contain their defensive line. Ryan, what's your prediction and your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with 34-28 Cowboys to win. So it comes down to, can you protect Dak Prescott and can you run the ball? You got to be able to do one of those two things. We struggled to run against Seattle. I think we'll be able to have at least a little more success against Cleveland. I'm not saying we're going to run all over them,
right,
because they do have a good rush defense. But I think it could be more like the Rams game, where we were able to see some success despite their ability to stop the run.
Exactly. And so let me ask you this. We spoke about the dual running back with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Do you believe that we're wearing Ezekiel Elliott down way too early in the season? Because I personally do. But I'll let you comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. He's kind of built for it. Well, when you were bringing up the idea of trading Pollard, one of the things I was thinking, Zeke does a great job at just staying healthy, but that's never a guarantee in the NFL, especially when you're a running back, and especially this year in particular, without the preseason and all that. So, I'd like to see us, especially in games like this, if the defense is making you pass the ball, then do it. And And instead of throwing it to Zeke in the flats, let Pollard get a little action out there.
Yeah, I agree, because what we got to understand, Zeke is a running back. He's a dual threat because he's tremendous in the pass protection game. And so, but you got to think he's taking on a lot of blocking responsibility. He's running the ball, getting a lot of carries, and it's only week 4. And so it's just like, let Tony Pollard take some of this off of Zeke's shoulders. I thought that was the whole idea. And Mike McCarthy all offseason, that was the thing. We're going to use Tony Pollard and different things. Tony Pollard. Well, be a man of your word, Mike McCarthy. I need to see more Tony Pollard. Because like I said, I don't want Zeke to be wore down when we're heading into the dog days of December and January. No, he should be refreshed. And we have a capable running back that can really take the load off of Zeke. So just like I said, the Browns are doing it, we can definitely do it here in Dallas, because if you watch the FTFN Network, the virtual tailgate, there was a conversation about which running back duo was better. And, my guy Joe, shouts out to Joe, man, he had the Dallas Cowboys. And I was like, yeah, the Dallas Cowboys have the best running back duo, way better than Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And then the Cowboys make me eat crow, man. So stop Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore making me eat crow. Let this great running back duo do what they're fully capable of doing. Tony Pollard is not just a special teams guy. I definitely want to see him get more carries. But let me also ask you this, because there's another Cowboy who kind of sparked and flashed on last Sunday, and for fantasy owners like myself who was getting mollywops, Cedric Wilson. So do you think this is going to be more consistent opportunities for Cedric Wilson, or was this kind of just a flash in the pan, one opportunity game for him, or do you expect to see more out of him this season?
Well, I mean, he's definitely been with the organization enough where I think we kind of know what to expect from him, although he has not been around Mike McCarthy past this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we're getting to the point to where Dak trusts him more. At the same time, we did see that breakout game last year from Devin Smith, and he was kind of unheard of after that.
Right.
I do worry that there's not going to be a million opportunities, but as well as he played, he's definitely going to get some chances throughout the season.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just another weapon for Dak Prescott to use. Even though he had a few missed opportunities, I think Dalton Schultz is still playing solid. He's gonna be a project. So will Blake Bell. They'll be a project, but I think these guys just getting their reps is the most thing critical for their success. And so, like I said, I'm hopeful for Sunday's game. I feel like the Cowboys should handle business. So, my guy Ryan, man, I appreciate you for coming on. So, once again, for everyone who's watching the show, go ahead and tell them where they can find you and a little bit about yourself and your information.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, Jordan. It's Fratagonia on YouTube for more daily Dallas Cowboys content. It's Fratagonia on Instagram and Real Fratagonia on Twitter.
Perfect. Yeah, follow this guy. Like I said, he's one of the writers on the Fan to Fan Network with me, man. So he's really knowledgeable, has a lot of Dallas Cowboys content, great mind. So he'll be on the show a lot more. So this won't be the last time you guys see Ryan. And if you're watching me for the first time, your boy Jay Tuckman, Cowboys fans only, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, continue to comment, like, subscribe. I appreciate all the support, man. I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for supporting me, supporting Sid, like everybody who's showing the love and support, man. I appreciate you guys. This doesn't happen without you guys. Like I said, this channel was never about me. It's about us getting our voice, being able to share our passion of Dallas Cowboys football. Also, follow me on Twitter at jtuck151, and then make sure you go to cowboysfansonly.com and get your official CFO gang gear, man. I got some more than stash I want to create for you guys. So there might be some new stuff added this weekend, depending on how we do, man. But like I said, guys, I appreciate you guys for joining on. Got a show tomorrow with my guy Sid. Speak your mind all the time. It's gonna be me, Sid, and SoFlo. And then this Friday we have Dia Wall. She is a news anchor here in Kansas City for the news, but she's a Dallas Cowboys fan like me, stuck in Kansas City. So we're going to hop on, have fun, talk a little Cowboys football for Friday. And then Saturday night, we're going to bring in a few Cleveland Brown guys, and we're just going to roll up the sleeves, grab a beer, and go at it, man. So a lot of fun content coming on for you guys. So like I said, go ahead, subscribe, turn that notification bell, man. I deeply appreciate all you guys and your support, man. So as I always say, I want everyone to stay blessed, stay safe, stay encouraged, and we'll see you soon. How about those Cowboys?